All right, welcome to the Brickie Experience today, everyone. I have the most incredible guest. You ask for this guest, and here she is, Coach Funkhouser, Miss Funkhouser, or you could even say Coach Funky. And it is just such a pleasure to have her today. Thank you to all of you who suggested that she should be on the Brickie Experience. So once again, thanks for joining us. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Buffington.
Good morning. We're so glad that you joined us today. She's an extraordinary person, and I have to agree with all of you. She defines being excellent on purpose. There's no question about it, everyone. She's actually been a teacher in the school city of Hobart for over 40 years. Just shaping other people's lives, being an inspiration, whether she's in the classroom, the pool, out on a run with some of our students, or running a marathon. And so I like to look at her as this person who endures, endurance. Being a marathon runner, being a marathon teacher for 40 years, she truly is an inspiration to us. So we're talking about her endurance, her heart, and what keeps her going so that we can learn from her. And she is really, truly an inspiration. So let's go ahead and get started. You have been a Brickie for over 4 decades. That is really incredible. And what first called you to teaching and coaching? Can you share that with the Brickies?
Yes, I was very fortunate that I had wonderful teachers throughout my whole educational career. I had very caring, supportive, and just warm and welcoming elementary teachers. And even through junior high and high school, I had a lot of teachers that really helped shape my life and were great role models. And it continued on into college with my professors and the coaches I had.
Yeah, that's pretty special. You know, and really that's what we set out to do as educators for all of you Brickies. We hope to inspire you for what you're going to do when you leave us. And you had people that inspired you to teach. And it doesn't matter if you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a nurse, you want to be a certified nursing assistant. It doesn't matter what you want to do. You can get inspiration here if you're looking for it, right? And so that's really incredible. I'm so glad that you decided to be a teacher. Were there times that early on that you knew that you wanted to just stay in Hobart because you felt like you belonged here?
Yes, even from, although I had never heard of Hobart when I grew up in the central part of the state of Indiana, but after I got here, I actually got the job and I was coaching varsity volleyball. And the first team I ever had, those girls were so supportive and so welcoming. They believed in me, and they actually came to 3-a-day practices for the full 2 weeks before school started.
3 a day.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible. So you knew early on that you were in something that you just loved, right?
Yes. When I saw them work hard and succeed, it made me feel good because they could see how they were getting better and they could see the success themselves.
You know, that is one of the most incredible things in being an educator, teacher, coach, that you just really work hard for your students to be successful. And when they are, there's no more satisfying part of that career move is to see your students achieve and accomplish. And it's a reward. And so I always say, find a job that you really love and it won't seem like work. And that's what I look at when I look at you. So outside of the classroom, she's a marathon runner. And wow, how many marathons have you run?
80.
80 marathons, everyone. And this is the big question. Did you finish them all?
I did.
Okay.
Some were hard, but made it all the way through.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at a few things that are really special to Coach Funkhouser, and she'll explain them. So let's take a look at what is this one?
This is a relatively new, fun run. It's like a color run here that our PTO sponsors as a fundraiser, held in May at the high school. It's a 2-mile run, and everyone, once you sign up, you get a white T-shirt that says the Brickie Bolt. The goal is to make sure you finish with very little white showing on that shirt.
Okay, that is fun. And by the way, it's only 2 miles, everyone. How about this one?
This is our middle school cross country team, and we were warming up for the conference meet over at Woodland Park as a team.
Okay, very good. How about this one?
This is down in Disney World, and this is called the Goofy Challenge. In the beginning, they had a half marathon on Saturday you ran, and then you ran the marathon the next day.
All right, that sounds like a lot of fun. And how about this one?
Well, this one is my only international pacing opportunity that I had. I paced the Rome Marathon 2 years ago, and it was incredible.
That's pretty special to do that in Rome. International runner. There's so many titles that you could have here. So it takes a lot of physical and mental strength to finish a marathon, obviously. So what drives you, and why do you do that?
I like challenges. And before I ever ran the marathon, in 2002, I went up and watched the Chicago Marathon, and there were so many thousands of people, all ages, men, women, and all shapes and sizes, different running forms. I left there so inspired, so motivated that I made a goal, and I said, I'm going to run it in 2003. That was my very first marathon.
All right, so when you think about that, have any of them just been so difficult that you were just like, I can't do it? I just got to give it up. Because, I mean, you finished all 80 of them. Were there any of them that you just said, I can't go on?
No. Well, there was one in particular, Nashville Marathon, where they always tell you don't eat anything new prior to race day. And I had stayed with some of my college friends, and her husband was a chiropractor. Anyway, he made me this special drink the night before that was going to help me. Well, it didn't help my stomach.
Oh, really?
And so the Nashville Marathon was a real challenge for me because that was the one I felt the most uncomfortable. But I knew once I started, I was going to finish.
Okay, no giving up.
No giving
Any
up.
other marathons that just threw you a loop?
You know, they're always challenging, but they're so incredible. They're so inspiring. You're with so many people that it just gives you strength as you just kind of get motivated as you go through the miles.
All right, so I happen to know a really crazy story about one of her marathons that involved a deer. Let's tell them that story because it's almost inconceivable that you would have finished that marathon. So tell the Brickie audience about what almost ended your marathon and her running career.
Yeah, almost did. I was running a 50K at the Huff race in Huntington, Indiana. And about 300 people run this race. It's all on trails. You run through the woods. About 8 miles into the race, all I heard was somebody behind me just yell, "Deer!" And next thing I knew, I was on the ground.
Oh, so it wiped you out.
It wiped me out. And obviously the deer got up before me and the guy that got hit by the deer.
It's kind of hard to believe that she got hit by a deer. I'm sorry. Okay, so tell the audience what happened.
So anyway, the people behind me, they're all stopping, and the guys behind me, he just said, "Are you okay? Can you run?" And I just said, I'm laying in this puddle of mud, and I said, "Just tell me if my bone is sticking out of my leg." And so he goes, "I don't see anything." And all I remember is taking my hand down the side of my leg. I didn't feel my bone. He helps me up, and he goes, "Can you run?" And I said, "I don't know. I just got hit by a deer." Long story short, I finished that race the next 30 miles.
That is so incredible. So nothing was going to stop you. So what kind of routines or habits keep you centered or energized to teach 40 years, run marathons. I mean, you have endurance that everyone would probably just want to capture it and sell it if they could. What kind of habits and things you do to energize you to keep going?
Well, I keep setting goals so I have something to look forward to. So that keeps me training. And then my running has helped me develop a good daily routine and a good healthy habit. So by doing that, I know, first of all, it affects my nutrition. So I have to eat healthier so I have the energy to run. And then I have to get enough sleep so I have the energy to run. So it's a whole healthy cycle. It keeps me in that daily routine that becomes a habit.
Right, and these are all choices, obviously. And if you don't make those kind of choices, you're not going to have the endurance to run these races. That's really very encouraging. If you could just choose one lesson that you would want every student who crosses your path to walk away with, because you are an incredible inspiration to many people, what would it be? What would be a lesson if you could just say, I just want this for everyone?
I would say find something you enjoy doing and stick with it, make it a habit, and then it becomes part of your life. Because you like doing it. It could be with yourself. It could be with, a workout partner, a friend, somebody you like to be with, but just stick with it.
All right. So when you're talking about sticking with it and endurance, what is the toughest part when you want to just give up? I mean, have you had days when you're just like, this is a tough day?
Sure.
So how do you do that? How do you cope with that?
You have to keep reminding yourself, how do you feel after you're finished? How do I feel after I get done with the run? I always feel better afterwards than I did when I started. My mind is clear. I get those good endorphins, and then that gives me like that second wind, and I feel good, and it makes me feel happy. And what's the alternative? Happy?
Exactly.
Yes.
So, I mean, you almost talk about that it's something that you do that helps ground you. Stress, anxiety, you're out taking it in, you're in the elements, you're running, it clears your mind, and then you feel a sense of happiness and achievement when you're done with it. I so can relate to that, being outdoors. Gardening. I'm not a marathon runner, but I do love to garden. And it clears your mind, and you really feel good with the end result. And so for me, it's flowers. For her, it's getting a medal, finishing a marathon. And so what can our students, talk about what's the toughest part of running a marathon? I mean, how do you get started? What's the toughest part where sometimes you're like, I don't know if I can do this?
The toughest part is believe in yourself and say to yourself, you can do this. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. You are out there to just have a plan and know that it's for yourself.
Right. So you have these healthy habits, and just for the audience's purposes, she did share with me prior to this that the first mile of the race is the hardest. Can you elaborate that for the Brickies?
Sure. That first mile, your muscles aren't warmed up, your mind, you're ready to go, but you haven't got into that rhythm. You haven't gotten into that flow yet. And then once you start running, you get past that first mile, you're loosened up, those endorphins are being released, and you just get that sense of pleasure. And it just keeps you going. And the miles go by, and you're being motivated as you continue running.
Right. And you could almost equate that to getting out of bed, everyone.
True.
The toughest is the first step out, right? A lot of people do workouts in the morning just to get that kind of going, right?
Yes.
And so, it is about endurance. It is about picking things that if you work at it and you have these goals and you set a schedule and you can accomplish it and you can feel good about yourself. And so what do you say to a student that hasn't discovered what their potential is? And, and they're down on themselves and they're having tough days, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would tell them, don't be afraid to try. Go out there, give it your best effort, and by sticking with it, having that perseverance and determination, keep working at it, and you're going to find little successes along the way.
Right. I think you bring up such a really great point. It reminds me of Michael Jordan a little bit.
Yes.
Right? Because Michael Jordan, he always had this famous saying, I can't accept not trying. And so you have to try in order to have some success. And, he was cut from his high school basketball team.
Yes.
And it's so hard to believe that. But I see that in you. You can't, you try. And that's what everyone has to do. You have to decide to try and not give up on yourself, believe in yourself, and find those mentors, those people out there that will help you be successful. So being here for 40 years, that Brickie spirit, what have you noticed about that Brickie spirit that is so special?
It's contagious.
I agree with that. In what sense would you say it's contagious?
That the community and the parents and the students themselves, everybody is supportive of each other. And when one student finds success, it tends to grow, and they want to bring other kids along with them, whether it's on a team, in a class. I know in my swim classes, when one student learns to dive, everybody's a little fearful at first, then the next one tries it, and the next one, and then they support each other, and it just grows.
It really is a Brickie family, and people do, they love the purple and gold, and all my life I want to be a Brickie, work, work, work. And I love that they're cheering each other on to be excellent on purpose. It's just an amazing feeling. And, a lot of people in surrounding communities or downstate, it's so crazy how many people know about Brickies. And they know our sayings, and they want to be a Brickie. And so you got to be here to be a Brickie. And sometimes we may adopt someone that is pretty fond of us, like Sal Khan. He really likes us a lot. But the point being is that we are something special because we do understand the power of work. And we also understand people that influence our lives. Coach Funkhouser is a true inspiration to me and just hundreds of people because of her heart, the way she inspires us to endure every day. I can't thank you enough for being my guest today because you are a true inspiration to us. I hope that you take away from this today, everyone, that you can be a marathon runner in life. You don't have to run a race. You have to get up every day and try, and you can find something that brings you joy. And the point would be endurance is about not giving up, and find people that support you and find something that makes you happy to do, and you'll be better for it. Thank you so much again. I hope you join me the next time on the Brickie Experience, and have a great day, everyone.